Hey y'all, welcome back to Made It Out. Before we get started today, I wanted to talk to y'all about something that has been happening for the last 2 weeks, just in case you don't follow us on YouTube or social media. Matilda and I have turned Made It Out podcast into Made It Out Media, which just means that we want to create many more shows and more free content for you all. And we want to thank you because we wouldn't be able to do this without you, and also ask you for your support so that we can keep doing this for free. The best way to support us is to engage with our content, comment, like, share, also to follow us on YouTube, put on your push notifications, watch the videos all the way through, engage in the comments, and also check out our new show. It's called Out for a Drive. The host is Rachel Samples. She is such a funny comedian, and it's kind of a mix between carpool karaoke and cash cab, but very gay. It takes place in a U-Haul, and you'll see some people that have been on the Made It Out podcast and also some new queer women faces. It is so fun. Please go watch. We want your feedback. Tell us what you think. We want to create dating shows in the future, competition shows, interview shows, possibly something with music. The possibilities are endless. And so we want to know what you want. So please let us know what you think. Okay, let's get started with today's episode. It's with content creator Syd Matthews. We shot it when we were in New York. It was one of the most fun, hectic shoots we've ever had. We became very fast friends. We talk about how trauma impacts figuring out your sexuality, codependent friendships, biphobia, bisexuality in general. You're going to love Syd. You're going to love this episode.
So I know that we didn't really have like a structure for how you wanted to. Did you want to like ask a question? Do you want me to just kind of like spearhead the whole thing? Do you want to just sit back and relax and drink your drink?
Honestly, I had a really long night last night, so if you could just take this one over.
I wish I came over last night.
Yeah, I know.
That's like, we really fucked up.
We're going to redo it today. Don't worry.
Okay, cool. Hell yeah. I'm really excited for this brunch that's happening. That's totally happening. It's going to be great.
Tell me about, well, we usually start it with like your childhood. Honestly, Matilda was like, maybe we don't start with that, but from the things that we've talked about this morning, I'm like, you sound like you've had a really interesting childhood. So can you tell me about it?
Yeah. So I was raised by wolves. I'm just kidding. Both of my parents struggled with addiction. So I think that this is really important given the context of sexuality, because I think that when you're growing up in an environment that's like primarily fight or flight all the time, you don't really have the space to like work on self-identity. So I didn't really know who I was, I feel like, until fairly recently, like within the past 2 years. But yeah, both of my parents are like really fun. They love to have fun. They really do. And my dad's not so much in the picture at all, but my mom is like the definition of a hustler. So even though she struggled with addiction too, she was like such a functioning addict. Like she could just get shit done. My mom's the kind of person you call when you're like, I'm getting sued.
Right.
What, like, Christine, what do I do? You know?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, like, no fucking sweat. And then she'll make an account as like a fake lawyer and like go in there and get you your bag, you know?
Yeah.
And she like joined a cult once to get a free car. Like, she's just really like, she's very, resourceful.
Yeah, scrappy.
Yeah. She's scrappy for sure. And both of my parents are con artists, which I have to stop sharing with people, because when I say that, it's like, what's that make you? You know what I mean? Like, you were raised by two con artists. Like, what's going on? But yeah, they definitely have like a ton of personality. But do you know the show Shameless?
Yes.
Okay, so my pop-up, that's what white people say. My peepaw, he told me that he was like, "Have you ever seen the show Shameless, Sydney?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, that's like you guys. So if that gives you some, I'm like one of 5. I'm the oldest girl in the family. There was like a lot of that, a lot of just, you know. It was like kind of my job to like handle things in the house, wake everybody up. I would like have to go like find my mom dipping out somewhere. Sorry, that's like, this sounds so intense. I feel like I've talked about it, but I'm really desensitized to it at this point. But I know that, again, all of this is important when you're working on like self-exploration, because for me it was like, okay, this stuff has to get done today.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have time to be like, what's my favorite color? You know, like it just wasn't really super important. But then again, it also makes you really funny. So like, is it that bad?
Character building, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like my college essay, 8, like served, honestly. But that's the thing. Like, it's like, oh, okay, cool. You know, I genuinely feel like sometimes it's easier to be able to talk about this shit because it's like, I think there's so many people that use that as an excuse in their life for why they can't do things. Like I, for so long, would be in relationships and be like, I'm just too damaged. I'm too damaged. I can't. Like, and it really put up like a wall for me to get to that next like level of growth because I just was like, I'm too broken, whatever. But I had a cool college essay. Like that was, you know, that was it. That was really it. Should I read it? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. We'll put the link here.
Yeah. link below. Like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, so.
But when do you think you started to realize that was a problem?
Like this is the thing. It's like hard to not talk about this without getting like so deep into it. But it was when I noticed that like the health of my parents was not in a good spot. Like my mom, there was one instance where like I woke up in the middle of the night and I remember like I was trying to like push the bathroom door and I couldn't get it all the way open. And I like wedged my little body inside and she was just like passed out and, you know, not was clearly using. And it was like, I'm not going to get into the gory details of it because it was really super traumatizing. And, you know, I know that it's not like something that people really want to hear. It's super gory. But I remember being like, oh, now health is being compromised. But it was genuinely a lot of fun, most of it. Like we wouldn't be in school, which was cool.
Right.
That's fun, skipping out, you know, playing hooky every day. And then we would go to Home Depot and my dad, allegedly my dad would steal a shit ton of copper pipes and like shove them in the car. And then we would go to a junkyard allegedly and like buy drugs, allegedly.
Wow.
So, but it was like fun for us in a way. And like I was on like cop duty. So I'd be in the back and I'd be like, all right guys, like we're in the clear, you know, like, and it was a fun, like that sounds ridiculous. I know, but it was like a fun time. Like I didn't have to be at school, but I was also super behind in math. Right. I didn't know I was dyslexic. So that comes back to the identity thing. Didn't know I wanted to sleep with women and didn't know that I couldn't read or count. So they're kind of in the same boat.
But you knew that you were a great lookout.
But I knew I could spot a cop car from a mile away, an undercover cop car, and find bed bugs. So, and pick locks. No, that I can't remember how to do anymore, but my dad did teach me that. Thanks, Papa. He's not dead, just dead to me. Yeah. I just like to look up. I think he's watching over me. He actually does watch my TikToks, apparently. That got back to me. Yeah.
And what does he think?
He thinks it's like, he'll be like, that's funny. And I'm like, I'm making jokes about how he's gone. And he's like, that's good. Like in his head, he's like, that's like, I'll be like, oh my God, like my dad hotwired and stole my car. And he's like, like she's silly. She storytells. But yeah, but I mean, he can't say that they're not true. So people. Yeah.
Okay. So when did you have like a come to Jesus and start to be like, oh, who am I?
Yeah. I feel like I had a really good support system when it came to my aunt is like a hot, cool 50-year-old. Like she is so hot and cool and she was a yoga instructor. It's a really important detail. But she was very much somebody that told me, she's like, you want to like be a creator. Like you want to do all these things, but your anxiety. I was like super agoraphobic from all of this. So that was like the product of being in this environment. So I wouldn't leave my house. There was like 2 years where I like didn't leave the house and like couldn't and got super sick. I like couldn't be on public transportation. I couldn't be in class. Like it was like into first year of college. So my aunt like kind of gave me like a kick in the ass and she's like, no, you need to like put yourself out there. You want to entertain, like, and she's always been the person that's brought me back to like content creating and things like that because she's an artist herself and she's so incredible. So I really do feel like if I didn't have her in my life, I really don't know if I would be like at all secure with myself enough to be like creating things that I think anybody cares about, you know? So that's been pretty dope. Yeah. Thank God. People need to see this shit. People need to see me talk about my dad. They're like, get over it. No, honestly, it's like really, I need to get over it. And I'm doing fine. And you're doing fine?
I'm okay.
Okay. Are you feeling okay? You haven't touched your drink, and that makes me feel like I'm an alcoholic. I've been like, look, okay, now I can do it. I didn't want to be the only one. You know what I mean? Like,
Still sounds like 3. Okay, back to your trauma.
sorry. Yes, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to derail the conversation. Do you want to insert an ad? Or I guess you could do that on your own time.
Where even are we? Are you bi yet? When did you figure that out?
Yeah. So ever since I was really little, had like boyfriends and girlfriends. Like I remember in preschool, Emily, that's her. No, but like we would like kiss on the playground, and then it happened in kindergarten. I remember going home and being like, oh, like I'm getting it, you know, like I'm going after it. And my family was like, Syd, you like what? No, you don't do that. You know, you don't kiss girls. But I wasn't like, you know, told that I was a whore for kissing boys. So I was like, okay, cool. Like I knew I was always a very like sexual being. Like I just loved intimacy, and I didn't, if it was, you know, something from just like hugging, being touchy-feely. My family's like Italian, like that's just like how they are. So I just was always like that. But it wasn't until I got to a certain point that I had a younger best friend, and we got like really weird. Everybody has that time, right? When you got like really weird. What I'm talking about. I'm not gonna get into it because I was like 12, perverts. That's probably what you want to hear. But I remember my grandmother at the time. So my parents lost custody of us, if you can imagine. I don't know why. But then we were shipped to my grandmother's house, and she was like Roman Catholic, or Vatican Catholic rather, very strict Catholicism in that house.
That is like quite a switch.
Yeah.
In lifestyles.
Right. And the irony, I mean, everybody's doing drugs, but then we're like, God, you know, it just was it felt like a paradox in my existence. So I remember in that space, she would talk about queerness and like how it was frowned upon. And she was also a huge conspiracy theorist. So there's like one particular memory that all my friends know of this, but she came into my room in the middle of the night and she was like, Syd, like when Barack Obama becomes president, the gates of hell are going to open and absorb the gays. And if you're outside, we're going to have to leave you out there. But if you're not gay, like you'll be fine. And I remember being like, oh, shit. Okay. I was like, and then I flashed back to Emily, preschool. I was like, and then I was thinking, if I'm in hell with Emily, that it's not gonna be so bad.
Not bad.
It's not gonna be so bad. It's her lover. But yeah, so that like just to get an understanding of what like that switch was. So again, not really having the space to discover identity at all. You know, I'm like, what? I didn't feel like I had space anywhere to really discover who I was. So I then was teaching every girl in my grade how to make out. And that's when I was like, this is like, I'm working, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't gay. Like I was helping them.
Right.
I've been a helper. I told you that in the beginning.
Yes.
I'm a giver. So I was just like, and this is an experience that so many women have talked about that they have done. Have you done this?
Yeah.
You were the maker outer?
It's so funny hearing you talk about this because today at brunch, you're going to meet my friend that I've had since I was 2. Oh. And she's like, Mal, I have vivid memories of when we were like 4 and we would be in a circle with all of the girls and like one boy and we'd be playing spin the bottle. And she has this memory of me like pulling down my straps of my dress and being like, I'll kiss anybody.
We would have been great friends.
That tracks.
I needed somebody like that in my life because it was just always me.
Yeah. We were both the neighborhood perverts.
Yep. Like that's exactly what it was.
What it was.
It would have been you and I playing spin the bottle with just us two for hours.
Oh my God, guess we have to kiss again.
Oh, damn it. No, genuinely though, that's what it was. And I remember all these girls, like I was, you know, helping them. And then they would just go off and use it on some dude. I'm like, girl, I just gave you we just did a master class.
Yeah.
For 6 weeks. I thought this was going somewhere, you know?
Okay, but yours was more innocent. I had a girl from my high school tell me that I was teaching nasty stuff to do with boys. Look at Matilda's face. I was teaching them you have to touch their balls while you give them head.
How did you know that?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
Syd.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, look at you judging me.
I know. That's really gross.
I'm being very vulnerable today on the pod.
I know. No, I'm just kidding. You're not gross. And I love that. I love your vulnerability and thanks for this space.
And you're welcome for that lesson because I'm sure all of her boyfriends have loved her.
Yeah, yes. She's been super successful ever since. Like, God, what's her name? No,
I think my problem was that I was really trying to please men.
Yeah, I felt that too. I mean, I was trying to please anybody. Like, honestly, it was just, but I felt, you know, I had more of a relationship with my mom. But my dad, you know, it was just always, I needed that male validation so bad. And I was also like, gap tooth, busted, fugly, like a fugly little slut. No, I'm just kidding. But I when I was really young, I didn't sleep a lot and I had like really bad anxiety. So I just always had big bags under my eyes and gap teeth. And I remember once like at school, all the kids like drew a picture of my face and they put like a pig nose, which I'm like still coping with. And then buck teeth and then like frizzy hair. I just always had like big hair.
Oh my God, jokes on them now. Like,
you could probably do like an ad there, Jennifer Aniston, put, like get the text underneath. But like, yeah, so I could just do the podcast like this if you want. No, but it's just funny because those were all the things that I got made fun of, and then you know, time passed and my gap closed and my tits got huge. I'm just kidding. But then it was like, oh, she's not like just weird. Like now she's like funny and cool, you know, but before it was like, oh, she's like, we laugh at her. Now they're like, you know, then they were laughing with me. So, but anyway, yeah, all of them are great kissers now. I've double dipped. I've been back around the block, you know, years later, but they're doing good. So that's when I knew I was a little bit maybe confused.
yeah.
So, but you went through a similar experience.
But mine was more like, I am very much just trying to like play a part with men, but like secretly all I want to be with is women.
Did you want the men to know that you were like kissing girls and that it was like, okay.
It was so secret. Like, I think I've told this on the podcast before, but I used to have a tanning bed, which, oh my God, is awful. But I had it in like the guest room and I was living with a long-term boyfriend and I would go into the tanning bed and masturbate to lesbian porn. Have I told this story before?
While it was on?
Oh, oops. Yeah, while it was on. I know, like, ouch. Like, oh my God, so bad.
Wait,
just like in so many ways.
Crazy. And I'm not judging, but if I were to judge on one thing, no, I'm just kidding.
This is why my guests feel really safe.
No, I feel
I'll
so
just tell
safe.
you every fucked up thing.
I've never felt safer. That's incredible. Why didn't you just do it, I don't know, in the bathroom? Like, did it have to be in the tanning bed?
Ironically, that's also where I had a spiritual awakening.
I did see that on your last I think it was a podcast episode.
So a lot of good things happen in a tanning bed for me. So I think it's just like a spiritual place.
You got to get back in there, girl.
I actually really do.
I heard it's really good for you. Tanning bed ad.
Okay, so when did you... Because that's also just like so hard when you're being bullied on top of every fucking thing you're dealing with.
Yeah.
That had to be a mess, to be frank.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, when did you start to deal with that?
When will I start dealing with it? Yeah, I'm dealing with it right now. Okay. No, like again, I feel like I've made so much peace with these things that it really doesn't. Now I'm in a good spot, but it took me a really long time to be like, okay, wait, what do I even want from a partner? Like, I'm really proud of my previous relationship, and we dated when we were younger as well, because he like being with him was actually like, oh, this is what it's like to be with like a good person. But I didn't even have time to think about what I needed or wanted when it came to like logistics, like where did I want to live, or like how many kids did I want. I just wanted to be with somebody that just like didn't hate me, you know, like, and I kept gravitating towards abusers. Like I really have had such a past of abusive men, and it was like cathartic for me. Like I loved it. I loved the toxicity of it, you know? And then when I started dating women, I had this like gentleness that it was so unfamiliar to me and terrifying. Like women were so kind. I wasn't ready for that, you know? And there was this like one girl specifically that really like got me the most curious, because I didn't really know I was probably like 22, 23, and I still didn't really know where I was at with my sexuality, but I just knew I was like, oh, I like you. And I always felt that way. I was always like, I just like whoever this person is, I like their personality and I want to like kiss them on the mouth, you know? And we hung out, we like freaked it a little, whatever. And I remember being like, okay, I don't know if this is going to work out like with us specifically, so I must not be gay. Like, so that was the first instance where I was like, oh, I tried the thing and I'm not gay. And then it wasn't until after that I had another experience where I was like, oh, I can be in love with women, and that is terrifying, you know?
Yeah. Did you find it to be triggering?
In what way?
Like, I feel like I have a similar past of like I gravitated toward really horrible men. But then now that I've been with women, especially like in a really healthy relationship, I'm like, oh fuck, like this is really hard because the mirror is now on me. And I'm like, oh fuck. Like I have to deal with so many things.
For sure.
When you're given the space, I guess, it's like such a nice thing, but it's also like, ugh, I did not want to deal with that.
Yeah.
I've been hiding that away.
Yeah. And I will say, like, I've gotten that from, unfortunately, my relationships with women have been, not like they've also been toxic. So again, I haven't really had the experience of being with a healthy woman like yet, you know? And so that's been really tricky. I think again, you know, I just learned now that I was like, oh, I like this other species. And so what am I still going to attract now that I'm starting from scratch? It's going to be toxicity all over again. That's the thing, like you're starting over. Yeah. And then you're going to gaslight yourself into thinking maybe I'm not necessarily as, you know, invested in women because look, it's like, it's not even going well. I might as well just go back to what I know because I have more experience with this thing, you know? But I think that the last instance that I was in, it's, you know, we talked about the codependency thing. And I think in female relationships in particular, a lot of bi women experience this where they have a relationship with somebody in their life who is, you know, they're very close with, and they don't realize that you're muddying the waters of intimacy. And female intimacy in friendships, emotional intimacy, and even physical intimacy is applauded. Like we talk about all the time, we're like, oh, it's such a safe space, right? Like women, we talk and we're in the bathroom together. We're like, someone's in the shower with it like open and you're like joking around and like running around naked. And it's like fun. Like I love being a girl. It's just a good fucking time. But also it's, you know, you're going to bed at night with your best friend, and then next thing you know, you're like spooning, and you're like, oh, okay, we're best friends. We spoon. Oh, we're best friends. We hold hands. We're best friends. We like kiss. We make out in the bathroom at Woody's. You know what I mean? So it's like there's all these different lines that get crossed very slowly that I think is different. If you have a male friend that you're close with, and you cross that line of intimacy, you cross like. That's it. You're intimate. But with women, it can be so muddy. You know.
How did you decipher that?
I remember there was like one specific instance. So yeah, like I fell in love with my best friend, and there was one instance where she had like an immune disorder. She still has it. Hope you're taking your potassium tablets. We don't speak anymore. So if she hears it, that'll be the only way that she can hear this from me. That's actually why I'm on this, just so she can hear that. I'm just kidding. But I remember you know, she was my best friend, and I look back at videos now, and I'm laughing because we would say we're best friends, and I just looked back recently trying to go through and like delete some of my photos and videos, and it's like so obvious. We're like the way we're looking at each other, talking with each other, like goofing around. I'm like, this is not. Everybody would tell us, they're like, you guys are in love with each other, and we're like, stop that. We're bestie boos, you know. But I remember one specific instance, she was in the hospital because of her immune disorder, and potassium pills, you can plug it right there. And then she looked like shit. I remember she just looked so bad and disheveled and pale, and like she's laying in her hospital bed hooked up to her IV like you should be right now. And I looked at her and I was like, oh my God, I'm so in love with you. It was, and it pissed me off. I remember I got in the car and I started crying, and I was like, I remember my first thought, which is, this is how I know I'm like deeply, you know, the internalized homophobia is so real. I remember being like, you're disgusting, you're disgusting, you're disgusting. Like I kept saying it over and over again to myself, like on the way home, like gripping the steering wheel and just thinking like, that's no. Like, you know, that's not true. You love her and she's like sick. So you feel that way. But I remember like, I can look at my journal now is like so gay. That journal has like seen the gayest of days. But I was like, oh, when I go back and read that, I can validate my experiences on how I felt about her.
Right.
But it was really hard because, our timelines never matched up either. So we would just, be dating people who sucked, and then we would break up, and then we would like hook up and always try to play it off like it was just like a drunken night, but we've seen the inside of like every bar's bathroom in Philadelphia. Aww. Like we've been, we've tainted every bathroom bar in Philadelphia, but like that, and that's the thing. We didn't, you can blame the alcohol and you wake up the next day and you're just like, oh, let's just not really talk about it.
Yeah.
But it was very obvious to everybody else, like what was going on. So that was the first time that I was like, oh, I can fall in love with somebody who isn't a man. And that made me feel really bad. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of women have this story, and even I have, like, I feel like every chapter of my life had a extremely close best friend that I was like a little too attached to.
Yeah.
Like literally going back to the one that I was telling you about, my childhood friend. I'm like, yeah, I think I was a little bit too attached to her. And my most recent best friend, when I first, like, she watched me come out basically. I look back on that friendship and I'm like, we were extremely like, we were codependent. Yeah. We were like in love. Like I still love her so much. She had a full boyfriend. She's bisexual. But like I fulfilled a lot of her emotional needs that she wasn't having met in that relationship, she would be in the hospital and her boyfriend wouldn't show up for her. And so I would show up with like a basket of things and, make sure she was taken care of. And I would decorate her apartment, for her birthday. And I made her move right next door to me. And we were, we just were so codependent. And then when I met Mathilde and I moved out of that apartment, we were neighbors. I moved and it was like detrimental to our friendship. It was like, we basically went through a breakup. We didn't know how to talk to each other for a year. I would invite her to everything and she wouldn't come. And it was like, I think we both were dealing with the fact that like, I'm not going to speak for her. I don't know how she feels, but like, I think we both just were like, damn, like we really needed each other more than we thought. And then now I was having my needs met by someone, and so I think it was just this really hard adjustment period. And our friendship has really changed. She's still like family to me, but I think now that I have a partner and there's only space for one person in my life like that, it's really changed our friendship. So it is just like, but like also at the same time, it's so hard for me to picture having sex with her or like even crossing that line, but it was like such a different kind of friendship love.
For sure.
So it is so muddy and hard to like figure out.
And fulfilling the emotional needs part, like that, we talked about this briefly when we first, had a phone call. I remember she used to fulfill all those things for me. That's like, and she knew it. She would get drunk and be like, I'm the one who's stepping up. And I didn't understand it at the time, but now I see her frustrations. She's like, I'm always there for you. And I remember she, it was like, our timelines never matched up, but there was one specific instance after her Aunt Pickle's 70th birthday bash.
Aunt Pickle is iconic.
I'm like, we have to bleep that. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine.
Had for pickles.
I can't wait for you guys. I'll just do the editing too. Like, honestly, it's gonna be so much work. But that was like, everybody at that event was like, you guys, what is going on? Like, it just was not, it was so obvious to everybody else, like her family, everybody knew, but I still couldn't accept it. Like, I could see her that way. Like, I could see her as my girlfriend when it was just us, like just us in her house. That's it. Nobody else was around. I couldn't picture anything, past that. And I remember there was, she was there on fucking Christmas. Like, she came to my house on Christmas. You know what I mean? Like, it was not normal. And people in my family could sense something was up. And I remember, again, my super like homophobic part of my family was there. And they had said to me, like, she's really pretty for a lesbian, which I was like, we're moving up. We're moving up. We're getting there. I'm like, okay. So I was like, yeah, no, like she is. And I remember feeling this like tinge of acceptance in that moment, being like, oh, okay. And then, she's talking sports with my brothers and blah, blah, blah. And I remember being like, oh, like this person, I can see this. Like, I didn't realize that there could be a woman in this spot that you know, can like shoot the shit about sports with my brother and like joke with my mom and like is helping out with like the dishes. And, you know, my one aunt and uncle were getting in like a physical altercation in the corner, and she's over there washing, we're like smiling at each other doing dishes. Like it was mad. I was like, you fit right in, you know?
Yeah.
And whatever, like it's now that's long since passed, but looking back, it was like really a magical thing to know that I could feel that way about somebody and I didn't have to hate myself so bad. Because my first like intimate interaction with a woman that was like real as an adult, I had a bunch as a child, but as an adult, I went home like sobbed, not because I didn't like it, because I did, scrubbed my face, and I the next day called like an ex from my past and was like, do you want to get together? Because I needed to undo the thing that I did, you know? Which like looking back, all parties are, nobody wins. Yeah. He might win. he won. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, like there's that confusion. So again, I think with bi women, I mean, they hate themselves and everybody hates bi women, right? Oh. Like nobody likes bi women. Cut that. That's actually your clickbait. Well, it's true though.
I mean, we haven't really talked about this on the podcast yet, so I do want to get into it because I know it's like, it's a thing. Yeah. So what do you feel as a bi person?
Yeah. I'm not. No, I'm just kidding. I actually gave it up for Lent. No, what do I feel as far as like the
biphobia?
About biphobia? Yeah. I mean, it's real. I have it with myself. I'm like scared of myself. So I could see how other people would feel that way with me, you know? And they don't like trust it. And, yeah, I think that it's hard, again, for all parties, men too. Men have never really liked this about me, except I had like, again, one partner that was like, okay with it, wonderful person. But most were like, well, you're with me now, so you're straight, you know, you're not really gay. Because if you were, you know, whatever, it's tricky because I think that I'm never like, gay like passing enough, but then also when I'm with women like my hometown friends or something, which they have come such a long way with these conversations and they've seen me like cry about it and have like consoled me and been so wonderful. But at first it was like really, it was a lot. They were like, oh well, almost like we don't necessarily like, well, I guess we'll believe it when we see it, you know. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm like bi and I like women, I don't know if I'd go down on one, right? You know, but like I like them and I want to kiss them when I'm drunk at a gay bar, right? And it's like a hobby. But I think like my culture's not your costume. No, I'm just kidding. But it's not until you really fall in love with somebody that you're like, oh, I can do that, and it you know, and it hurts and it sucks. And it sucks. I'm biphobic. God damn it, Syd. Oh, I don't want to be with that community. No, just kidding. But I think it's real. Like, I wish I could, you know, as they say, pick one. You know, I wish that I could pick a side, but like I've learned that I can, and I can't stand that. Like there's this sometimes with men, this like security and what's it called? Like evolutionary draw.
Oh, it's like primal or something.
Yes, it is primal for sure, right? And like we need to stop acting like that's not a thing. That is a thing. However, emotionally, which overpowers a lot of things for me, I can't say that I don't also feel that way with women, you know?
Right.
There's something like deep and primal that's like, oh, that makes sense, you know? So it's like, it's very complicated. I feel confused by it every day. I think a lot of women do, but at the end of the day, like I just like who the fuck I like. Like that's it, you know? But yeah, so I'm still learning how to like myself with this. I still don't understand. And now it's like, you know, my hesitancy and my pause on deciding to pursue a female relationship has resulted in the loss of somebody really important to me, you know. She's not dead, just engaged and can't speak to me. So like it's, you know, and that's on me. That's on me. There could have been a point where we had a conversation about it, but I hated myself too much to be able to do that, you know. So RIP to that past me.
Okay, what are the different experiences of biphobia with men and then with women, specifically lesbian women? I'm curious.
Yeah. I've found that they're equally as upset for different reasons. So men's feelings around being bi are that you're going to leave me if, like, the irony, right? They both feel this way. Men feel that if you're in a relationship with them, you're straight and you should, why are you even considering being bi? This must mean you want to sleep with other people. You want to sleep with women. Where women are the opposite. They feel, oh, you're definitely attracted to both. Okay, well, you're probably going to leave for men. So they're both in this insecure place of not understanding that it's like when you choose to be with somebody, when you have like that verbal agreement that you're in a relationship with them, like that is it. You know, it's not like grass is greener on the other side. It's like, I'm with you. I just happen to be attracted to both.
Yeah.
But I think lesbian women, I mean, I hear them talk about it. Like my gay friends joke with me and they give me like a point system. You know, they'll be like, oh, okay. Like they'll go around and be like, Syd, you're this percentage of gay today. Like you're the, you know, and it's like, I'm not going to do that with them because they're obviously gay. Now, granted, I'm asking what the percentage, but they're still rating me. And that's fucked up. No, but you know, it's funny because my friends that really know me, they know how much I struggle with it. So they understand. But people that don't, you know, were like, there was time I was putting like content on the internet about it. And, you know, I was like finally like coming to terms with it. And there was a lot of women that were like very upset by me talking about swinging both ways. Like they did not like that. And it comes down to this piece where it's like people just want to like claim you. Like they want like one side wants to claim you, you know? But yeah, I found that men are more like disrespectful and dismissive about it in my experience versus women who have been biphobic in the way that they don't believe you. Like it both have their issues, but I just feel like women like accept it more than men, but for the wrong reasons, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Have you shied away from talking about it on the internet?
Yeah.
I hate that. I think you should keep talking about it.
I know. I think especially around like such a polarized time, my family is super conservative. And, you know, it's funny because I was making content around it, but they would still always like to ask me, like, they'd be like, well, you're not like gay, right? You know, I actually told my family I was going to do this podcast like a while back and they were like, oh, well, why are you going on it? And I've told them in the past, it's almost like they want me to like confirm it again and again and again. And I'm like, I'm not going to. So just like watch the episode or not. I don't know. Uncle Stanley, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just kidding. It's Uncle Andrew. He's really creepy. He might see this. You can keep that in. I said what I said. But yeah, I think that, you know, within my family in particular, like, there's this part of me that wants to move to just like detach for a second, to just be like, okay, I need to start over and I just want to be exactly who I am. But I, you know, it was Easter one year. It's almost Easter now. Is it Easter?
Oh yeah, like next week.
Oh, okay.
Or something.
Okay, next week.
Oh,
It was like a couple Easters ago and my grandma was coming at me about how our generation is like, you know, they've lost touch with God. We don't want to get married. We don't want to have babies. And, she was coming at me for not being like pregnant yet. And I was like, I didn't lose touch with God because I didn't want to, you know, I don't have children yet. It's not about that. Like I lost touch with God when I started sleeping with women and you made me feel bad about it. She did not like that. I said that to her face on Easter and she was like, mini stroke. I cut that out maybe? I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. But she was very worked up about that. And I was like, I felt so good because it was the first time that I finally like said something to my grandma who's like so religious and so scary. That was just like, fuck you. I feel this way and I don't care. But yeah, basically like if you're bi, I don't believe you and you're probably not, just pick a side. That's like my advice that I have. So from one bi to another.
I think that you should keep posting online.
Yeah.
Because there's probably so many fucking people who feel like this and are seeking, you know, counsel.
Asylum. No,
seeking asylum.
Community.
On your TikTok page.
Yeah. People go there to feel safe, I've heard. No, I'm just kidding.
For
People
real,
go there
though.
and then they get like really like scared and uncomfortable and then like send me a DM and then leave. It's really scary there. This is such an interesting chair. Yeah.
What is your advice for someone who's struggling with being bi?
The proof's in the pudding. No, I'm just kidding. What's that even mean? You can cut the first part.
I was there. I was like, okay, I'm going with you.
I think it's important for people to know that, like, particularly women that have dealt with any conservative backgrounds, you know, like, a lot of people they believe that I am into women because I was traumatized. You know, that must be a result of your upbringing. You don't like men, so you're bi, whatever, or gay. But in reality, because I like women, I'm traumatized because of how people have made me feel. So I feel like you don't have to explain it. You know, there was this girl I dated for a bit. Her name's Kelly. And I'm like, you can keep that. She's great. I said to her, when did you come out to people that you were dating women? And she said, I never did. She was like, straight people don't have to. I just said I'm dating this person. Wow. And I thought that was the coolest thing. I was like, oh my God, you're so fucking cool. Come over to my house. So then she wrote on my whiteboard, bring strap on next time. And it was really special. She didn't, but it stayed on my whiteboard for a really long time. It actually was there through several relationships. And they were like, what is that? And I'm like, don't worry about it. It's special.
Just Kelly.
She always leaves me special notes. No, and that was one of I brought this up in stand-up once, but one of the core differences between dating men and women, men come over to your house, whatever, they smell, they wake up. This one guy, I remember he was staying at my house. He woke up and he started rating my family members from hottest to not. My sister was on there. She was 15 at the time. And I was like, that's a crazy thing to do. Kelly stayed at my house, left a note on my pillow. Flowers. When did she have time to do that? I had to go to work. I was working at a bagel shop. And I was like, all right, gotta go, babe. See ya. I gotta go make money for this family. We're dating for a week. And I go to the bagel shop and she stays there. She sleeps whatever. And then leaves a note. And the note's I hope this rose is better than the one that your dad sent you from prison, because my dad used to send me roses. Anyway, that's unrelated, but it was really sweet. And it was Valentine's Day time. My dad used to always send roses when he was in prison. No, he sucks and they were ugly, but it's fine. But I was like, Kelly, this is not the same fucking thing. You're literally a lesbian. He's a felon. I don't know. He had to jump through a lot of hoops to get that note, to get that flower to me.
This is easy for you.
This was fucking easy. But I just remember being this is so sweet. She made my bed. I've never seen my bed made like this. I was like, what, were you a maid in a previous life? It was perfectly tucked sheets. Anyway, miss you. No, I'm just kidding. No, she's dating somebody really cool now. We're still friends. So anyway, my advice is call Kelly. If you're feeling insecure about your sexuality, definitely call Kelly and she will probably have the answers for you. So that's all the time we have. We have to get to brunch. We
literally have to get to brunch. I fucking love you. This has been so much fun. I think we just became best friends. Or I think we're in a throuple and also you work for the company. We'll figure it out later. Yeah. Tell people where to find you.
Where to find me, actually. Okay. So my 1304 Federal Street. No, I'm just kidding. No, you can bleep that out. My social media is Syd Rose with 3 underscores. So you can find me anywhere. TikTok, MySpace, and Instagram. So
okay, we play a game.
Okay.
It's called You Haul or You Ghost.
Okay.
Perfect in every way except for this one thing. Okay, you match on an app and she starts sexting you before the date.
No, definitely you ghost. Oh my God.
What's the line?
Oh wait, is there a thing I'm supposed to say?
No. No,
What's the line? No, I'm just kidding.
No, how far is too far? How far is too flirty?
Okay. Oh, I got you. Yeah. Hell yeah. To me, I need to feel like they hate me beforehand. Oh. So if they're sending me nudes, I'm like, you're way too into this. I want it to be a very long time before they send me a nude. And months we haven't texted, they're ignoring me, and they probably have me blocked. Yeah. And then I get a nude one day, while I'm in a new relationship.
That's telling me a lot.
Something like that.
Got it.
Did I answer your question?
Yes. Okay. Perfectly.
Okay, thank you.
What about she's always vaping?
Oh my God. Been there, done that. You know what I can't stand with the vaping thing? It's have you ever dated anybody that's vaped?
No.
They're like, can I check under you real quick? And you're like, and they're like, it's just under, I think it's under, I'm like, it's literally not under me. I don't know how it would have gotten there. So I would say you all. Yeah, absolutely. Send it.
Send it. Does it make a difference? I am that way with my weed pen. Does that
because that feels like you have a goal. You know what I mean? If the goal is a nicotine rush, get out of my face. And I'm tired of looking for it with you. And I'm tired of being late. So, yeah, I mean, I'll still I would still do it.
I will say there was one time I can't remember, we were like at a concert or something, and Lexi, our friend Lexi, addicted to the vape. And we spent the entire concert with her fucking flashlight looking for this vape.
Yeah.
And I literally, it is like a real addiction.
It's an addiction.
Like they fiend.
Yeah. But I know I'm addicted to things too.
What are you addicted to? Let's just go there.
Just kidding. I actually can't think of anything I'm really so perfect. But I was really trying to think.
I was really like, wow.
No,
okay.
I'm actually addicted to checking my ex's ex-girlfriend's Pinterest boards. And I
Wait,
think
okay, your ex's...
I'm pretending like you're in this podcast.
Yeah.
With me. Take a seat.
Ex's ex-girlfriend's Pinterest board.
Which I think is a top, like that is the, if you're curious about bisexuality, you are 100% bisexual if you're like overly invested in the ex-girlfriend. Like I'm not interested, I keep looking at the mic, I keep breaking the fourth wall. I'm like, but I used to think I was like, everybody's doing this. We're all looking at the ex-girlfriend, right? Like we're all checking out who this person is. But it got to a point where I was like, what's she listening to? Like, what's her Spotify playlist? Like,
whoa,
what's on her Pinterest board? What is she like wearing this week? I would just be like, but then I realized that I was like, I think I like her. I think I like her. So what was the question? The vape. I'm a little gay.
Yeah. Okay. Love that. That's interesting. I've never really cared. Like, I don't give a shit about Matilda's ex-girlfriend.
Subtle brag, you're secure. We get that.
Okay. She speaks really rudely to her parents.
Oh, you ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just, it's your parents. Well, I speak bad to my parents. But I feel like we have a different kind of relationship that's like, we like, roast each other. But if you're disrespectful in the way where like, you're like, Mom, shut the fuck up, then you ghost. Because that's like, you're going to talk like that around our future children. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just think it's
Do you
gross.
think I'm rude to my parents?
Not at all.
You don't? No. But like my parents and I very much have like a casual relationship.
Yeah.
It is like, Mom, shut the fuck up.
Okay.
But it's not like
no, I would
disrespectful
say that, I would say that's
way.
how like I am too.
You are?
There's a difference, I think, between being like, like, Mom, you're fucking annoying or something versus being like, Mom, you're being a fucking crackhead.
Okay. Okay.
She's like,
I'm just clarifying because I'm like,
term of endearment.
We all look back and we're like, oh, am I mean to my mom?
Yeah. Yeah.
God.
It's their first time living
we
too.
age, yeah.
Like whatever people say.
Yeah, exactly.
My sister, I love my little sister, but she like does post, like she'll put posts like that up and she'll be like, just remember, like it's your dad's first time living too. I'm like, he left, babe. Like he doesn't want to be, no, it's actually really sweet. She's going through it. She also thinks she's like a cowgirl. She's going through that phase. You know when your sister goes through that phase?
Yeah.
Where they're into like trucks and being a cowgirl and horses. And not a horse girl, not to be confused with a horse girl. That's a different vibe.
No,
she's like
specifically cowgirl.
She is like a hickory do donkey. You know what I mean? I cut
I
that
grew up
out.
in
I think that's a
Texas.
slur. Oh, that's the vibe.
I do.
My sister would love to meet you. You're like her inspiration. You're probably like, if we looked at her Pinterest board, it's probably just pictures of you.
My culture is her costume.
Thank y'all for listening to today's episode. As always, help us spread the gay agenda by writing an Apple review, rating us on Spotify, and sharing with everyone you've ever met. And if you haven't yet, join our subscription community, Made It In, for exclusive Made It Out media shows, content, and chat rooms at madeitout.supercast.com. Made It Out is produced by Matilda Jordan and worked on solely by lesbians.
Are we exclusive? The question you're scared to ask. Send her this haiku.